It's the 2K Sports pregame show.
Hello, basketball fans. I'm Ernie Johnson, welcoming you to 2K Sports. I'm here with Kenny the Jet Smith and Shaquille O'Neal. And in our matchup tonight, we'll see the Detroit Pistons going up against the Los Angeles Lakers at Staples Center. Looking at the Lakers, they haven't forgotten the fact that this team swept them last year in the regular season. This is a game they had circled going in. And tonight, two top-tier centers going toe-to-toe. Obviously, the center position has become more multi-dimensional than ever. Shaq, give us your thoughts on how your position has evolved.
Well, the new defensive rules make it harder to post up. Versatility has never been more important for centers. You know, starting to play small ball, you need to get a little more versatile and show them that, hey, Akeem is not gone.
Do you think you could survive in the league in this day and age?
Oh, yes. Yes,
wow,
yes.
What a question.
Yes, yes,
I
yes.
can't believe he even asked you that.
I can't believe he answered it.
I think you come off the bench now.
Yeah, you could be a great sixth man.
Oh!
Whoa!
Okay, you could start.
Shaq don't do bench.
Okay. Defensively, centers just have to guard, and Shaq could guard.
Yeah.
Like a play guard.
Happy Halloween, everybody. Trick or treat, it's the NBA. We're glad to get spooky with you tonight. I'm Kevin Harlan alongside Greg Anthony, Steve Smith, our Hall of Fame sideline reporter David Aldridge. And folks, do we have a treat for our broadcast for you tonight? The legendary Kobe Bryant will be stepping in to help call the game. Kobe, thanks so much for coming by.
No, nice to see everyone. Thanks for having me.
Lakers looking to make the most out of their home court advantage here at Staples Center in downtown Los Angeles. Taking a look at Detroit, they've hit a rough spot here early, but still have plenty of time in their season to find their way out.
You know, Kevin, this is a team that you would certainly not consider to be world beaters, but they certainly are better than what they've shown us thus far. I mean, it will be interesting to keep an eye on them the rest of the season because they've got the potential to make some improvement.
And with pregame routines coming to an end, we're just about ready for our tip-off. First, though, let's get a report from the sideline and say hello to David Aldridge.
Well, guys, Luke Walton played 10 seasons in the NBA, but it wasn't until near the end in 2011 that he started to consider coaching. Walton says, "I never thought about it until I hurt my back." Now, while he was out of action, Phil Jackson invited him to sit in on the coaches' meetings. Walton said, "I realized that I liked that side of the game." And Kevin, he succeeded Phil Jackson as head coach of the Lakers. Back to you.
It definitely did, David. He won titles when he played for the Lakers. Now he'll try to bring that winning mindset back to L.A. And Kobe, your spectacular high school career at Lower Merion High School in Philadelphia, in that Philadelphia area, paved the way for your NBA career. Talk about some of the highlights of your days in high school.
Well, my days in high school were fun. I mean, I played at a small high school called Lower Merion High School, so not too many people heard of it. You know, when you come to Philadelphia, the schools that you hear of are Overbrook, where Wilt Chamberlain went to school, Bartram, right, where Earl of Pearl Monroe went to school, right? But you never heard of little old Lower Merion High School, right? So it was a huge honor to be able to bring a state championship to Lower Merion and kind of put Lower Merion on the map, and that's the most exciting part about it.
Oh, a terrific story indeed. A huge honor, I'm sure. We've got a chance here to set the floor, courtesy of Gatorade, all fueled up and ready to go for this one. On the floor for Detroit, Jackson and Bradley are in the backcourt. Lure and Drummond together down low. And it's Harris in at the 3 spot. Ingram wide open. A 3-pointer off the mark. And Kobe, you've had so many fans from high school that carried over to your NBA days. In the stands now, in fact, you'll see fans with Lower Merion High School jerseys on.
How cool is that?
That's amazing.
How cool is that? You know, to actually be able to see a bunch of Aces jerseys in the crowd when literally nobody knew where Lower Merion was. There's actually a school called Upper Merion. So everybody used to confuse the two. Just say, hey, yeah, I saw you when you played at Upper Marion. Say, hold on, dude. No, Lower Marion, man. Get it right. Don't forget it. Lower Marion.
And Kobe, you played for a handful of coaches during your career. When you look back on it, was there one coach you wished you could have played for but didn't have maybe a chance to play for?
Greg Popovich. That's an easy one for me. Although I did play for him in several All-Star games.
Yes, you did.
And one particular All-Star game in practice, he came up to me and said, okay, do you want me to just kind of go through like a whatever practice, or do you want me to do the real thing? I said, Pop, you got to do the real thing, because I've been dying to see what really goes on inside these Spurs practices.
Oh, my gosh,
you got to give us a real practice, man. And he did. And Tim just kind of looked at me and was like, dude, seriously.
What are you doing here?
Come on, you're killing me.
So what was a Popovich practice like for you, and how did you try to set the tone?
It was high energy, and we moved from drill to drill, and it involved a lot of passing and moving and spacing. And so all of the shooting, it wasn't any individual shooting. You know, all the individual shooting took place within a five-man offensive structure, a ball movement, a passing and cutting, and all of a sudden your shot comes from the corner, and then you slide up to the next line, and you dribble, penetrate, and kick it, and then you slide to the next line, dribble, penetrate, kick. Right, so it involves constant movement where you're constantly training and conditioning the body, that you're not just going to pass and stand and be a participant, right? You're going to be involved into that, in the action, you're not going to be a passive participant.
Now here's Jackson after the miss from Contavious Caldwell-Pope. 4 on the shot clock. Bradley, Lopez with the block. And here's the fast break. Ball leading the way. That shot by Caldwell-Pope, no good.
Well defended, though, and he's not someone who handles that kind of pressure very well.
Kobe, you're a father. You've enjoyed that process, but basketball got in the way a lot of it. How do you balance fatherhood and playing at the level you played at?
Yeah, when I was winning championships there, our kids were still relatively young, or I should say babies. In my last few years, they were older and knew that they could really feel my absence. And so what I try to do is try to bring them along for the process. So there were mornings I would wake them up and say, let's go. So we're going. Well, Daddy's going to go train, so let's go.
No kidding.
And I bring them with me. And they'd be in the gym shooting around or kicking a soccer ball around or hitting a volleyball around. But I felt like it was important as a father to not just tell them about hard work, but they need to see what I'm doing. When you're sleeping, this is what I'm doing here for 3 hours. And so they're a part of the process and feel connected to the process. But traveling and things of that nature is very, very hard, because there's been plenty of birthdays that I've missed and school plays that I've missed.
Here's Ingram after the made shot from Andre Drummond.
And you have to love seeing Ingram knock down the mid-range J, a lethal scorer who nails these shots with consistency.
Now here's Bradley. They really needed more from him in that loss to Golden State. And Lure kicks to Bradley. Back to Lure. There's a good screen. Here's Drummond. Here's Harris. Another shot. He lays it in.
And already they've staked out a noticeable advantage in terms of aggression and controlling the backboard.
Traveling was a part of your job, a part of mine. You missed some things with the kids, but I know you take pride, Kobe, in the fact that you made it to a lot of things as well. You were not an absent parent.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's, you know, having a great partner. I mean, my wife has been absolutely amazing, which I think is extremely important as well, because she really held down the fort at home, which to me is the toughest job in the world to do. You know, I have it easy in terms of going out there and playing games, but to have the responsibility of actually raising young people to be outstanding citizens. You talk about pressure. I mean, that's, you know, I have to ask how she feels about handling that, you know what I mean? Because that's true pressure.
And after 20 years in the NBA, Kobe, you were able to play with so many teammates. Can you make a short list of some of your favorites over the years?
Oh, yeah. Let's see. Pau Gasol for me. Derek Fisher.
And a quality person, too.
Oh, yeah. I mean, just the nicest guy you'll ever meet.
Yeah, right.
You know? And Derek Fisher, Ronnie Turioff is one of my all-time favorites. Lamar Odom, Shaq, obviously, Robert Horry, Rick Fox. I mean, I've been very fortunate to play with some great teams. Horace Grant, AC Green. I mean, the list goes. Ron Harper. I mean, I can go on and on all day long. Brian Shaw. I mean, I was very fortunate to have some really good teammates.
You know what? He tried to lay it in at the point of attack. Just too much defensive pressure on that play.
Jackson passes to Harris. Top of the key, Bradley. Now here's Jackson. Defense is right there. Here's Drummond. That one goes in. Drummond's got 8 points. Well, Kobe, something that's such a huge tool in the NBA and the team's offense is the pick and roll, the screen roll game. You've done it as well as anybody. Just how are the nuances and the attention to detail important to make that play work?
Well, it's really important, but the screen roll today is run differently than it was, say, when Utah was running it with Stockton and Malone. What you're seeing now is more of a spread floor screen roll action where it makes rotations very difficult because you have to rotate off of shooters at a distance.
Right.
So now what you tend to see more teams try to down pick and roll coverages and sending guys to one side of the floor and try to play the screen roll coverage with 2 men and try to not have 3 guys in the action. You have to rotate and now push your team behind, right? And that it's a dance of, can you play the screen roll with just 2 guys? And on offense, can I force you to have a 3rd guy come in and rotate? If I can do that offensively, then you're behind.
And here is ball. After Reggie Jackson was able to get the triple.
The foot speed to get in position, the quickness of the jump. Drummond with raw talent as a shot blocker.
They grab their own miss. And count it. He'll head to the line with a chance to make it 3.
A team's rebounding is a great measure of its energy, and theirs has been terrific here in the first quarter.
Well, you got to play against some great defenders in the NBA like Draymond Green of Golden State and others. What are some of the things that, I mentioned Draymond Green, that he does as a player that you think separates him from the rest of the defensive guys in the league?
He does his research. He does his homework.
You can tell.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you can tell. When you watch him play, he puts himself in position before the offensive player even attacks. And how does he know that? Because he's watched the film. He studies. He knows the player's tendencies. And so when you mix in the research to go along with his frame and the quick hands and the foot speed, then you have a defensive player that's a force.
That's good from Harris.
Crazy for Tobias Harris after signing a massive $64 million contract in 2015. He was traded just a few months later. Doesn't happen like that very often.
And it's Detroit's ball. They're on an 18-4 run right now. Kobe LeBron said he learned so much about how to approach the game when you shared the floor on Team USA. What was it like playing with a guy like him, as you also played with Jordan, and then going up against him all those years?
Well, I think it was a shocking experience for them because I don't think they realized how much I talk trash. So,
no.
Yeah,
what?
I don't think they knew because, you know, when you from a distance, we thought you were really quiet and all sorts of stuff, and you get to practice, and I just don't shut up. And I'm just saying really brutal things about their game. And it's just, you know, they're getting really ticked off. But
yeah,
then,
because you were right.
Yeah, but then the intensity of practice goes up another level. And then we'd all go out to dinner. And then the next morning, you know, we come into the meeting, and I've already been working out for 2 hours. And so then they see that. And then, you know, D-Wade would come up and say, hey, man, I want to join you in your workouts. What time are we going? 5 a.m. He'd be down there working out, and then Brian would say, yo, I want to come too. And Brian would show up, and then Melo would show up, and all slowly but surely, we have our whole USA team in the gym at 5 o'clock in the morning training.
What a constructive time, I would think,
That was
for those other players.
But it was fun for all of us because we got a chance to hang around each other and think about the competition, right? So now when we come back to the NBA, fans are getting a better product, right? Because we've all been working out and pushing each other and getting better off of each other. So now when we step on the court to compete against each other, that means we have to take our games to another level.
That's a great story.
Yeah.
That's a great story. And Kobe, something that has changed in the NBA over the course of your career is the role of the power forward, the 4. More and more you need to be able to stretch the floor, take your guy outside, shoot the 3. Do you feel that that's a trend, or is that something you think that is here to stay in the NBA?
Well, yeah, I think things will evolve and things will change. I mean, you start getting power forwards like Tim Duncan and Garnett back in the league, you know, Dirk. All of a sudden, it becomes less and less of a commodity to have smaller 4s.
Right.
Because you're going to need to deal with the Tim Duncans and the Garnetts of the world. You know, so I think it's just a natural evolution thing.
Did you, when you had to guard a big like that, ever fear going out and trying to get him on the side or even working him inside the lane where he would have more power, more advantage?
No, I never worried about it too much. What I try to do is I always try to study the film and figure out what their tendencies are, what their sweet spots are, and you just try to get them off of that. It's not necessarily about the size of them, but how do you get yourself in position when you can knock them off balance a little bit and use the lack of size that you have to disorient them.
He did a stellar job throwing his body into the mix and coming up with the easy tip in.
Smith kicks to Drummond. Back to Smith. Now here's Drummond. Zubac's defending. Lobbed up there for Drummond. It's hauled in by Zubats. Zubats has got his 3rd rebound tonight. It's deflected. Kobe, there are a lot of great guards and wings in the league right now. When you look around, are there any that remind you of the way you played, or maybe are approaching, going down that road and say, I want to be like Kobe Bryant? I watch a lot of his tapes, much like you did when you were growing up.
Yeah, well, Isaiah has a hunger and a thirst for the game, and he's not going to stop. He's constantly curious. He's constantly working.
His size makes him a different kind of guy, though.
Isn't that unbelievable, though?
It is shocking.
That's unbelievable. But he can finish at the rim. He can shoot the long ball. He can pull up left and right. He has great physicality and a great body about him where he can punish bigs at the rim. And the other is Kawhi. I mean, when I watch Kawhi play, I'm just like looking in the mirror. The moves, the positions on the floor.
So glad you said that. I feel the same way.
Yeah, it's unbelievable, and it's a great feeling because, I'm sure Michael felt the same way. Right? When he retired and he watched me play, you're seeing the same spots. You're seeing a person who studied the person that came before, and there's no need to reinvent the wheel when the wheel's already been created. You just put it on a different car.
Well, he has been guided by his coaching staff to watch you and Michael Jordan tape, and I think that's kind of what he's done. Yeah, well, we've connected. We've talked about this stuff before in the past, and again, he's a curious kid. And all business. Yeah, curious. He steps out on the floor, he's all business. There's nothing funny, there's nothing silly going on. He's here to do his job, and he's here to help San Antonio win games.
Yeah, and the amount of points they've given up here in the paint, that's what they got to talk about.
For the most part, their perimeter D is holding up, but they might have to sacrifice some of that to close down the lane.
A chance here to assess what parts of the floor the attempts have been coming from as we look at the shot chart for Detroit.
And really, there's just such a lack of scoring for them from out at the top of the arc in terms of three-point range. And in today's game, you have to get scoring from the three-point range. And that area out above the free throw line extended is a real weak spot for them so far.
Lakers trail by 11. Hey, Kobe, after dedicating pretty much your entire life to the game of basketball, a game that I know you love, you said you don't miss it. Why is that?
Well, because I've been through that process. I mean, I started playing the game when I was like 2 years old, and playing professionally for 20 years, and I left no stone unturned. So there's no regrets there. I've done everything I could possibly do, and truthfully, the game is still with me. The discipline has changed. The industry might have changed, but the same approach, the same things that I've learned from the game, I carry with me to this day. So the game is still inside of me.
Here's Clarkson, and it's wide right. Hits off the rim. Detroit leading by 11. Smith on the wing. He's covered by Clarkson. Here's Kennard. And that one clearly a foul. Gets the whistle, and 2 shots coming up. Kobe, and any chance you might coach or might be a consultant to an organization, for instance?
No,
not at all.
Listen, players reach out to me and they'll call me and I'll give them advice, and I like it better that way as opposed to being tied down with one particular franchise. And I like what I'm doing now, and any player from all over the world can reach out, and I'm there for them in terms of providing advice or counsel.
Well, the story got out last year in the playoffs that Isaiah Thomas and you had some conversations.
Yeah. Well, he reached out and had some questions about how to approach that particular series, and I just said, send me over the film. What are you looking at? And I'll tell you. I'll take a look at it and I'll tell you what I see, and then you can go from there.
And that's good as he hits both of his shots. Kobe, you've made no bones about patterning your game after Michael Jordan. You watched him while growing up. Can you give us a little insight into the impact of what he meant to you and how he formed you in some ways?
Sure. Well, I think most players growing up, at least my generation, probably watched them play and saw all of the fancy plays, the dunks, the highlights, and things of that nature. What I focused on was how he got there. The moves, the timing, the fundamentals, the spacing, the rhythm. That's what I studied meticulously, and And so when I watched him play, I think I watched him play a little differently than others. You know, having not gone to college and all these other things, growing up overseas, I had to learn the fundamentals by watching and observing the greats, and you know, to the most minute detail.
And you can tell he's hungry, because that's how you eat away at a lead right there. Make some highlight reel plays and shake that defense up.
Well, Greg, you're right. Not all 2 points are the same. Not when they come on a stuff like that one.
Sometimes you want to send a message, and a message was sent. What a dunk.
Here's Hart after the basket by Detroit. Pass to Clarkson. And the whistle blows. It's going to be on Ish Smith. That is his first foul of the game. Here's Hart. He's coming off a 10-point game against the Utah Jazz.
Yeah, really like the defensive focus and intensity at the start.
It's 9 seconds separating the shot clock and game clock.
That's his second foul of the first quarter, and they may want to sit him for a while to avoid number 3.
The Pistons shooting their 5th and 6th free throws of the game.
And a season ago, only converting at about a 72% clip from the line.
First free throw is good. So he picks up just 1 from the line that time.
And they've been the more physical team offensively, seeking contact, looking to score in the lane, and getting to the line.
To the inside. Here's Zubac. From down in the low post, it goes. Zubac has got his 3rd basket of the night.
I'm not sure who was supposed to be on him that possession. I mean, apparently neither did the defenders.
Johnson outside, launches it. It's good. The assist that time from Smith.
And from the opening tip, they have been in complete control of this one.
Dominate on the court, and it's showing up on the scoreboard. Let's see if they can maintain this level of intensity.
And so it's the Detroit Pistons riding a 15-point lead at the end of the quarter. And it's been their rugged defense setting the tone. Back right after this. Welcome back, everyone. A lopsided first quarter in the books already as we start this second quarter. And Stephen Clark. Last game for the Lakers, it was a loss to the Utah Jazz.
And I think they can hold their heads high from that performance, you know, despite the final score being what it was.
Oh, sure, they did a ton of things right, and they can definitely look at those as they move forward to try to avenge that loss.
They've got Jordan Clarkson. Julius Randle is out there with Ivica Zubac. And it's Hart in at the 2. That's the Laker 5. In competition, once again, Kobe, the thing that drives you so much, even on the practice floor, you and Jordan were so much alike in that regard. Is it important to go with your teammates and challenge them in those practices that you recall?
You have to challenge them, because if you don't, then they become conditioned to not have those challenges every day, right? So if you come off of a night where you have a back-to-back, for example, and you have a practice the next morning, it's our responsibility to step into that practice and challenge them as if it was the game that we just played the night before. Right? Because if you do not, then you don't have that competitive spirit day in and day out, where then you feel like you can take games off because you can take practices off because you just don't have it in practice. Right? So it's our job to bring that every single day so that competing just becomes a habit for them.
And you learn about their mental endurance, their physical endurance during those practices.
Well, yeah, you challenge them to learn about themselves. Yeah. Right? You challenge them to think about themselves. Can I push a little extra? I'm going to have to, because he's driving me like crazy. And if, you know, if I don't meet that challenge, I'm going to have to hear his mouth all practice long. I'm going to have to hear his mouth on the plane. I'm going to have to hear his mouth on the bus. I'm going to have to hear his mouth in the locker room. Yeah. And I'd rather just compete.
John Lure, he's checked in for the Pistons. Jackson comes in for Ish Smith. Kicks to Johnson. And it's Johnson with the jam.
That's the leadership they're looking for from Jackson. Staying patient, surveying the court, locates the open man.
Kobe, I'm assuming that you've had teammates come back later and say, Kobe, you made me a better player.
Yeah, well, the thing is, when we're playing together, they don't like it very much because I'm always challenging them. But then at the end, like, even to this day, we're all very close. We're all great friends because they knew what I was trying to do was trying to push them to be the best version of themselves.
Zubac, that's good.
A lost art in this game. Terrific bounce pass.
Pistons leading by 14. Jackson with it. He's coming off a 19-point game against the Warriors in Oakland. Lure can't hit. And out of bounds. The Pistons will take it. So last season, Kobe, one of the closest MVP races we've had in a long time, came down to Westbrook and Harden. Who did you think was going to win before the results came out, and why?
Yeah, I didn't even stop to think about that because they're both like little brothers to me. So even though I could sit there and say,
LA
okay,
kids too.
Yeah, like I know them both extremely well, and they're both extremely deserving of it. So I refuse to split it.
Yeah.
You know, they're both my guys.
And different kinds of games, and both sensational individual players.
Yeah, they're just phenomenal. I mean, they can do so many things in the game. And now I think the next progression for them is to be able to dominate the game off the ball just as much as they can dominate on the ball, right? Because in the playoffs, the defense has a hard time finding them.
Marjanovic passes to Lure. And it's out of bounds. Last touch by Nance. This break in the game gives us a chance to look at the teams with the most points off turnovers last season. The Lakers in 5th.
And they turned all those mistakes into points at the other end. That aggressive style really yielding big dividends.
And to have the ball in your hands at all times, always bringing it up. It's exhausting, though, right? That's what they say.
But
now,
for you, the defense sees you, right? Yeah. So if you're handling the ball, the defense has eyes on you at all times. You're here. You're right in front of the defense. When you don't have the ball, you're moving behind them. Curry moves behind.
All the time.
He'll bring it up, pass it, and now he's running off the screens behind the defense, right? And it's hard to find him.
Rip Hamilton the same way when he played.
Rip Hamilton same way.
I know.
Jordan, flare picks, down screens, slicing into the post, right? Coming up to the pinch post. All those operational things take place behind the view of the defense.
Pistons leading by 17. Kobe, for a guy like yourself who made an incredible amount of three-point shots during your career, what is it like watching Steph Curry? Just how much has he changed the league? It was always watching the dunks of Jordan. Now we got kids that want to shoot the ball from distance.
Yeah. Shooting the ball from distance now has kind of become like a home run in baseball, right? Where it's exciting to watch the ball in flight. I think it's great because it just adds more love to the game, more things that players could do or kids can do that can't dunk. Right? It's like dunking was the thing, right? But now for kids that can't dunk, there's something else that's fun. There's something else that's entertaining, like shooting threes. Right? So
but boy, that takes a lot of work. Huh?
Yeah, it sure does. I mean, it's a lot of repetition.
Hundreds of shots daily.
Yeah, and it's a lot of repetition. I mean, you know, Steph, you watch him out there playing and making all these shots. Yeah. He's put in hours and hours and hours of hard work and continues to do so.
Good on the second free throw. With that three-point shooting on the rise, Kobe, if you were coming into the league right now, would you try to lean more in that direction than the incredible acrobat that you were when you were in your prime?
It depends who I was playing against. You know, I try to build my game to be able to do all those things.
And you could. I mean, you're like one of the few guys that could do all that.
Yeah, so it just depends on who I was matching up against, which determines then how I would try to punish the defense.
I like that word.
Yeah. I was trying to think of a softer one. And I was like, no, punish is a good one.
You're honest. Well, Kobe, you look at all the former Defensive Player of the Year, and they're almost always big men. You were a 9-time first-team all-defensive selection in the NBA. Do you think guards sometimes get overlooked at the impact they have in a game and a play?
Yeah, they definitely do.
All the time, huh?
I think the bigs have a huge responsibility in protecting the rim. And those things are very easy to measure.
Right, block shots
blocks
and exactly,
rebounding, altering shots or defensive rebounds. For guards, it's tougher. But still in all, there's some guards out there who have done it. You know, Michael and Gary Payton and, you know, Kawhi Leonard, I count him as a guard. You know, they're just phenomenal defensive players.
Where does that mindset come from, that defensive mindset, when you're an offensive gifted player like yourself?
Well, I think that's a truly competitive person. You know, some players will call themselves competitive, but you're not truly competitive if you only compete at one end of the floor. That's not what true competitive people do.
Here's what Detroit's going with right now. Drummond's checked in for Marjanovic, and Tobias Harris subbed in for Johnson. Kobe, you were a player who lived in the gym. What motivated you as you go back and look at all those hours you spent in the gym to do that, to follow that path?
I loved it. I loved the game. It wasn't a matter of working hard. I didn't realize I was working hard until like my second or third year in the league, when I realized here in the NBA, a lot of players don't do that.
Right.
It was kind of a big shock to me. Like, I assumed everybody in the NBA
just worked hard.
Yeah, but to me, it wasn't hard work. It was like, I love doing this. Like, there's no place on earth I'd rather be than be here in this gym with a basketball in the hoop.
But the greats are always the hardest workers out there. I mean, right, have you ever seen a great player who is not the hardest worker on their team?
No, I've seen players have great seasons, and, you know, and then the next season, it's not so much,
right.
And then they have another great one, and the consistency isn't there. The truly great players love what they do, and that looks like hard work to the outside.
2 shots.
Did you enjoy playing the game? There was so much you put into the game, but did you enjoy the game?
I did. I enjoyed the game. I loved playing, you know, the competition and all that, the getting ready and all that. But I enjoyed practice more.
Did you?
I did. I enjoyed training and practice more than I did the games.
Wow. And Kobe, how did you learn to watch tape? Because there are guys now watching tape and they'll just go, and you wonder if it's really even sinking in.
Trial and error.
Yeah, right. But really, that was it.
Trial and error. You know, you start looking at things, you start saying, man, like if I'm watching an edit on the player, and I watch one particular game, and then I look at the next game, and he's doing the same thing. And the next night, he's doing the same thing. Hold on, let me go back and watch. And then you start looking for consistent behaviors or patterns in their behavior. And then you think, okay, maybe that's something that's a tendency for him. Let me go back and check. 2 dribbles, turn. 2 dribbles, turn. 2 dribbles, turn. 2 dribbles, turn. 2 dribbles. Oh my God! Yeah,
there
that's
it is.
it.
There's the pattern.
Right. So what if I interrupt him between his first and second dribble and throw him off a rhythm? What'll happen then? Right. What if I know he's gonna go 1-2, turn right shoulder? I let him go 1-2. Now I jump to his right shoulder. Now you can't turn there. What happens then? Right. You throw him off of their patterns.
And the trend around the league, Kobe, is more offense, more three-pointers, certainly spacing, fluid offense. Scoring is up around the league in a measurable way from, it seems like, year to year. Do you like the way this is trending, or do you think the NBA should maybe put a governor on this, harness it in just a little bit?
Well, I think it'll swing back to the way, I mean.
Do you?
Yeah, because the game has gone through that progression before, and, you know, it's constantly evolving. And so I think you'll see it swing back eventually. You'll have a couple teams that are just big and, you know, may have a dominant post player, and all of a sudden you're going inside, and then that team will win a championship, and then the rest of the teams in the league will try to copycat the way the game is played that way, and things will swing back. So you know, it's just natural evolution of the game, I think.
The edge on the glass is the difference. It's allowed them to build this lead.
Here's Jackson. The offensive rebound. Out to Harris. Over ball. Harris misses.
Well, this is why you see guys shying away from their mid-range jumper. It's a bit of a lost art.
Lakers trail by 21. And with all the different technological advances in the league, you see a lot of player and coaches now reviewing clips and tablets and a lot of film sessions. I know you used to study a lot of the league's videotapes. How much easier is film study now, say, from the time in the late 90s when you got in the NBA?
It's so much easier.
Really?
Oh, my God. When I used to get in the hotel rooms, you used to have to call the front desk. They used to roll up the TV on the wheels
with the VCR
with
machine.
The VCR
connected
to it, right? And I have to have all of these tapes, and you got to put the tape in, and you got to rewind it, and you got to fast forward it,
gentlemen,
rewind it.
2 shots.
Now it's just everything's right there in front of you, right? And it's very easy to skip and go to the next game, and then jump back to the game before, or fast forward to the fourth quarter. I mean, it's so easy now.
That free throw, no good. Well, it seems like with more threes and more skill-based play, the league is adapting more of a European style of play. You grew up in Italy, Kobe. You know about that style. You appreciated that style. How did that impact your personal development as a player?
Well, tremendously. I mean, if you look at the era in which I grew up in Italy, you look at the players that came out of there, whether it's myself, Pau Gasol, Manu Ginobili. I mean, there's a lot of players that grew up in that same time frame. That play the game fundamentally sound, because I think all the coaches here in America were doing camps and clinics for coaches overseas.
Like Hubie Brown, right?
Exactly.
He would always go overseas in the summer. Yeah.
Exactly. And so we were products of that teaching. So all of our coaches growing up were implementing the fundamentals and the basics of the game taught by these amazing American coaches. And so we're kind of fortunate in terms of the time that we grew up.
He is really forcing things now. Doesn't have to do it because his teammates are picking up the slack.
So, Kobe, in retrospect, what has caught your eye now, a year away from the game, that perhaps didn't resonate when you played the game?
The time required to do it, right? Because when you step away from the game, you realize all the things that you missed. You know, all the taking the kids here, being there, being at home with them, just giving, you know, our newborn baby a bath every single night, like those things, right? But when you're playing, you're so immersed, so obsessed over the game.
That's your child.
That you don't even realize what you're missing. You don't even know. Like, I don't even see it. It wasn't even aware. You know, so having that perspective now is, you know, has changed things.
And Ingram isn't just a sensational scorer. He can also dish the rock.
Hey, Kobe, you know, when you take a look at great NBA rivalries, your mind goes more to the past than the present. I'm not sure why that is, but maybe you can enlighten us why rivalries seem to matter more or were more in our minds from yesteryear as opposed to today.
Because we can recall where we were when. Right? The recollection is always more powerful in retrospect, right? I mean, that's always, you remember where you were when, you know, Magic hit that running hook shot.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Some people can remember where they were when Nelson hit that shot that bounced off the back of the rim and almost touched the rafters and fell back in, you know what I mean?
Right.
So I think it's those memories that create a lasting impact. And even though in today's game, you can look at it and say, there's no real rivalries in today's game, there are. But they're only sink in over time.
So you think the Cleveland-Golden State rivalry, because the greats are on opposite sides there, will linger and will resonate like that?
Absolutely.
Move shots.
That free throw, no good.
And working, Kevin, themselves to the line here in the second. A nice way to get your offense going.
And he sinks the second. Some say, Kobe, that the shooting guard crop in the NBA right now, a little light in terms of depth, not quite as many top two guards as we used to see play the game. Who do you like among some of the two guards you see now in the NBA?
Well, it depends who we're considering a two guard.
Right,
now,
because
the
they just
ones,
blend,
twos,
don't
the
they?
threes, they all just blend.
Combo guards,
Yeah.
you're playing some forward position. It's tough, isn't it?
Yeah. So, you know, shooting guards to me are guards that have to do everything. You have to be able to play the post. You have to be able to play the perimeter. You have to be able to play the point. You have to do everything. So I'll put Russell Westbrook in that category. I'll put James Harden in that category. I'll put Kawhi Leonard in that category. My God, there's a lot of players I'm forgetting. Even Giannis, I would say, is two guard because of what he does.
Yes.
So there's a lot of talented guards out there.
Did you like the ball in your hand, bringing it up, or would you have rather someone else bring it up, then get it to you in the half court, and then do what you did?
Yeah, that's the one thing I'm jealous about Michael, because Michael didn't have to do that. He had Pippen.
Yes,
So,
right. Who always brought it up.
Yeah,
Yes,
so he could focus on coming off the screens and catching and shooting. He didn't have to think about facilitating first. He could think about scoring and then passing out of double teams.
Hard, he's checked in for Caldwell Pope. And he misses the second one as well, so he is 0 for 2 that time. And Kobe, you talked about coming off screen. Some guys come off a screen and kind of just lollygate. You came off and you passed the ball and then get back at it again. Yeah.
Efficient.
Explode off those screens.
Angles, right?
Yes.
You got to be able to read those things, and when you're catching, you're in attack mode all the time, because then it's demoralizing to the defense.
I'm sure it is.
You're always on.
Yeah.
You're always looking. You're always checking. You're always in fear that he's going to attack. So yeah, we always try to keep our foot in the gas.
Always.
Our foot in the throat.
Yeah. And here's Los Angeles. Good momentum, 8 straight points. Ball kicks to Lopez. And again, the Lakers, no good.
Wow, and this is his range. Maybe he was too wide open.
You know, Kobe, you played 20 years in the NBA. Sports medicine and training becoming increasingly important for extending careers, keeping guys on the floor. How far has that science come in the time from you when you entered the league until the time that you retired last year?
Well, it helped me play 20 years.
Yeah, right.
You know?
But different methods all the way, huh?
Different methods all the way. I mean, it's when I first came in the league and understanding what sports medicine was at the time and the research on recovery, and as the years went on, more science and research started coming out on the benefits of contrast therapy, of ice baths, and surgical procedures. Like, you know, if I would have ruptured my Achilles years ago, I never would have come back from that. You know, and now, you know, my Achilles, even as I sit here today, it's like I never hurt it.
No kidding.
It's amazing.
Well, he has to be careful now. He doesn't want to pick up that third foul this early.
Randall's checked in for the Lakers. Jordan Clarkson comes in for Ball. And Detroit with a change here, too. Kennard's checked in. Smith in the posts. Here's Harris. He's now made half of those 10 shots in the game. That's his 5th basket. And Kobe, in your opinion, what's been the common thread for all these advances in sports medicine?
I think it's the minds. It's the minds of people in medicine that are constantly pushing the industry forward. And, you know, it's our responsibility, the team's responsibility, to find these great minds and turn them loose, right? And trust them with the process, trust them with your athlete. But the key is you have to find the right ones.
Smith dishes to Harris. Pass to Ellenson. Feeds to Drummond. There's the pass to Kennard. And 2 free throws coming up, unable to get that one to go with all the contact. Julius Randle picks one up. The Pistons have made 5 of 10 free throw attempts, a lot of misses. And the first one drops. Zubac is checked in for Larry Nance. Detroit also making some changes. Marjanovic comes in for Andre Drummond. And it's Johnson in for Harris. That's also good, so he hits both free throws. Lakers trail by 15. 1:32 left now here in the second. It's going to be out of bounds. Los Angeles will retain possession.
And how about the reaction time on D there? Almost comes up with the pick.
You know, these are the little plays that can add up when you look over the course of a game.
And here is Los Angeles now. The shot by Clarkson, no good.
It's a +5 advantage for them in rebounding after that one.
Kennard, the pass to Smith. Johnson right side. It's good, the assist that time from Smith. Smith's got his 8th assist in the game.
His temperature is rising. I mean, it is rising.
Well, Kobe, I know you've got to go, but it's been a real treat for you to join us tonight. I know our fans have all enjoyed the broadcast. Thank you for stopping by.
Oh, thank you for having me, man. Looking forward to doing this again.
The great Kobe Bryant. And Smitty, you've had to guard Kobe on the floor during your playing days. Was it fun to get an inside look at how he views the game and what he sees from a broadcast angle?
Absolutely. You talk about one of the all-time greats. He was the ultimate student of the game, and just hearing what he feels about the state of the game and the players he's watching today. What a treat.
Smith against Clarkson. Pass to Kuzma. Back to Clarkson. Lakers passing it around. 5 on the clock. From deep. The rebound by Marjanovic.
And they could have used that trying to cut into this league. He's been off all night.
And it's Smith missing.
That's a shot he's got to hit. You don't get many looks better from that range.
The shot by Clarkson, no good.
Just great at getting after it defensively, forcing guys into tough shots.
Yeah, to be successful, you've got to protect the paint. He rises to that challenge.
And so it's the Detroit Pistons with a 19-point advantage heading into the next quarter. It seems like nothing they do can go wrong as they string together one successful possession after another and are simply running away with this one. And a chance now to send it over to David Aldridge standing by courtside. David.
Thanks, Kevin. Here with Stan Van Gundy. Coach, a very good first half for you guys. How do you assess the game so far?
I thought our energy was good, our ball movement was good, and it always looks good if the ball goes in and guys are making shots.
That's the name of the game, right, Coach? Thanks. Back to you, Kevin.
Thank you, David. And we'll be back for the third quarter of action following halftime.
The 2K Sports Halftime Show.
Ernie Johnson here. Got Shaq, got Kenny the Jet Smith. We welcome you back to the halftime show on 2K Sports. Detroit finds themselves ahead after 2 quarters. They are dominating the scoring, leading by 19. Kenny, what did you see from them?
Well, the best part of their performance has been their offensive rebounding. So often it's overlooked, but you get 2 quality shots because of your effort. That is the difference in the game. I love the way they're battling and getting all those putbacks. They keep that up, game over.
Shaq, what was your takeaway on the Lakers?
They relied way too heavily on three-point shot in the first half. Their long-range game was off. That's my off sound, right? They were off, but they still settle for the outside shots. They got to put more pressure on the defense by pounding it inside and attacking the basket.
So that'll do it for now as we send you courtside with Kevin Harlan and the rest of the 2K crew for the start of the second half.
And welcome back to the second half of our Halloween broadcast. You look at Tobias Harris, he has really been playing well.
And let's see what the defense counters with to try and control him here in the second half.
Well, you like to run more doubles at him, but the risk there is opens up things for everybody else.
Now, Smitty, be honest. When you're watching these games on TV or in person, how much do you miss playing the game?
You know I do, Kevin. I've always had that in my bones. But I think as of now, the last 2 or 3 years, as a guy that can shoot the ball a little bit, I wonder and dream and pray if I could have got a chance to shoot 15, 18 threes. So I love it, but I know my time is over, but I would love to shoot that many threes.
Checking out the group for Stan Van Gundy to start the second half. Lure and Drummond together down low. Jackson and Bradley are in the backcourt, and it's Harris in at the 3. Jackson kicks to Bradley, looking to end his cold spell, and a lot of contact on that one, so he'll shoot 2 here.
And Avery Bradley won the national high school title at Findlay Prep and was considered a top 5 prospect. Some had him even at number 1, and still after 1 season at Texas, he fell to the Celtics at 19 in that 2010 draft.
2 shots.
That free throw good from Avery Bradley. And Bradley, a great athlete. He won the dunk contest in high school. Terrific player, but he's not a big highlight player, it seems, in the NBA, Greg.
Yeah, you know, his strength and explosiveness more on display defensively, and that's been his meal ticket. He's added skill, though. He's turned the corner and has become a two-way threat.
Both free throws good from Avery Bradley. And last season, the final season for the Pistons, Smitty, playing at the Palace of Auburn Hills, as much as you love the new arena, it's always sad to say goodbye to an old friend. What was it like playing at the Palace of Auburn Hills, Steve, when you were in the game?
You know, I loved it because I'm from Detroit, the hometown, and those guys had that place rocking. It was state of the art when they first built it. But if you look right now, is because I'm a Detroit native, they're playing inside of Detroit. The pass is a pass, but it was a great pass.
Now, here's ball. Clock at 6. Nance. And it's sent back by Drummond. Charity stripe shot. Almost, but it rolls out. Lakers trail by 21. Here's Caldwell Pope. Great touch on the 16-footer. Caldwell Pope's got 7 points in the game.
As a defender, hard to keep up with KCP in transition. He has excellent get up and go.
Harris kicks to Lure.
Hey, close out on Avery.
And it's Bradley off the drive, and he gets the bucket. Bradley's got 4 points now in the quarter.
Assists like that have typified their effort today. Terrific ball movement.
They could use a big shot here to get this offense going.
Too many empty possessions. Right now, they need a basket.
Nance a screen. Lopez a screen on Jackson. Stolen by Jackson. He feeds it to Lure. Kicks it out to Bradley. Back to Lure. It's Bradley on the wing. That's tipped.
In addition to being superb on offense, Ingram is also a ridiculously good defender. His long reach really allowing him to collect a good number of block shots.
Not quite 2.5 minutes played here in the second half. Here's Bradley. Misses from close range.
And with that miss, shooting only 20% coming out of the break. Ouch.
And you know what? He's just not on his game. No doubt about it. Their deficit isn't totally on him, but he has not been an asset for his team. And defensively, they are on their heels every time the ball comes inside.
Timeout called, the Lakers.
Timeout. Timeout.
And Reggie Jackson, the Boston College Eagle, when he is on the floor, you can see how he acts as a spark plug for his team. Steve, a very creative player whose big strength is getting things going on offense.
And wherever Reggie's been, he's been great in that role of catalyst. When he's injured, you can see how the offense changes. Very underrated as a playmaker in this league.
Definitely not pleased with their rebounding at the defensive end. The number of putbacks they've allowed has been terrible. I'm sure that's what he's going to address during this timeout.
3 minutes gone now in the third quarter. Ingram with it, picked up by Harris. Nance a screen. Ingram kicks to Lopez. Down to 5 on the shot clock. Goes back up. It's tipped.
And with the success they've had rebounding the basketball, they're right where you'd expect them to be, firmly in the driver's seat.
And it comes off the front of the rim. Detroit leading by 20. Here's Harris. And that one clearly a foul. Gets the whistle, and 2 shots coming up. And Tobias Harris, the former Tennessee Volunteer. You would think a player who has been so efficient, Steve, on offense his whole career wouldn't have bounced around as much as he has.
It is surprising how much he's changed teams. Always a factor on offense, and he doesn't need many touches. If I'm a coach, I love to have him as an option.
Now, gentlemen, 2 shots. Loose shots.
And the first one drops. And they say it's a players' league, but we know great coaching makes a difference as well. And Steve, what was a moment in your career where you really were impressed with what a coach had done in a practice, a game, whenever?
Coaches make a difference. We obviously understand, like you said, it's a players' league. The players go out and play, but you got to have leadership. And when you have great leadership to go along with great players and great people, you have a chance to win. You might not always win it, but you feel good going through the process. I've had some great ones, and some that stick out. Lenny Wilkins in Atlanta. Talking about a great coach, a great person, and Greg Popovich. To get a chance to play for those 2 guys has been phenomenal, and I can always look back on some of the things they did, and a lot of moments, Kevin, off the court more than on the court.
Interesting. Well said. Here's Jackson. He's got 8. On the wing, Harris. Stolen by Ball. Here's Caldwell Pope. Yep, it counts.
Yeah, shaky defense there. Giving up the bucket plus sending KCP to the line. And you really got to be in awe at the way that Kentavious Caldwell-Pope plays defense. So disciplined in this era of three-point shooting to kind of stay home on fakes and playing great position defense. He just sticks to his man like glue.
One shot.
And that one misses. Now with Caldwell Pope, it's not like he's playing defense on just anyone. Greg, he usually draws the opposing team's top scorer as his nightly assignment.
Yeah, and he's earned that responsibility because of his play. I mean, typically plays a ton of minutes and never slows down during the game. All around fantastic defensively. And physically, there's no doubt they've been the stronger team. A +10 rebound advantage tells you all you need to know.
On the last half-decade or so, the NBA, Steve, has realized the true value of the corner three, and now offenses all over the league are designed to take advantage of it. Part of that is because it's just closer to the rim than any other three-pointer.
Yeah, you're right, and you should. I mean, when you have a three-point arc, yes, the corner threes are going to be shorter, and it's harder from a guy to shoot it from straight on. But when you have a guy that can shoot it straight on, you can see the dynamics of a team defensively. It's hard to cover. But I don't think the NBA should widen the court because of the value of the corner three. That's a part of the game.
Should the lane be widened? Should we talk about the court and making all the threes the same length? What about the lane?
Well, I think you can widen the lane if you change the defensive rules, because right now you're allowed to play zone. If you went back to man, yes, I think you should widen it. But when teams are allowed to play zone, I think the value of keeping it the same helps the defense a little bit more.
Another bucket down low. They've been the aggressors, taking the ball inside and attacking at the rim.
Ball kicks to Nance. Lopez a screen. Caldwell Pope with a wide open look. No good on the triple.
He just can't get it cranked up from beyond the arc. No threes in this half after just hitting one in the first.
Jackson kicks to Harris. And it's Brook Lopez with the foul. And that'll be his third foul so far.
And the next one puts him in the bonus.
Jackson in the corner. It's stolen by Nance.
Good eyes by the defense. Clearly, that's not where he wanted the pass to go, and he's frustrated.
Bradley against Caldwell Pope. It's Bradley on the wing. He's got 12. So he gets the whistle. Contact on the way up and two shots coming up. That one on Caldwell Pope.
Here you have the consummate pro. Rare to see Avery Bradley complain or give anything less than 100%.
He's gone 3 for 4 from the line.
Looking back to last season, he was at about 73%.
Take a break. Two shots.
That free throw, no good.
And really an interesting move by the Pistons. In effect, shedding two starters in Kentavious Caldwell-Pope and Marcus Morris for one in Avery Bradley. Stan Van Gundy clearly valued Bradley's leadership and playoff experience.
Catching up on the changes for Los Angeles. Zubac is checked in for Lopez. Randall comes in for Nance, and it's Clarkson in for Ball.
And Avery Bradley, an unrestricted free agent after this season. The Pistons have made it clear they're willing to pay the luxury tax to retain his services.
Pass to Zubac. And the rejection by Marjanovic. And Lure kicks to Bradley. Over Caldwell Pope. And again, it's the Pistons missing.
And I'll tell you, the sooner this quarter can end, the happier he'll be. It's been tough making shots.
Elbow shot. Count that one.
When the defense is non-existent like they were there, it's pretty easy to score like he did.
Now Jackson. 8 points for him. Johnson dishes to Jackson. Shoots over Clarkson. Oh, and that one had the right spin on it, and it is good. 10 points for Reggie Jackson.
Breakdown by the defense there. Jackson, a solid mid-range shooter. You like to push him out further.
Now flying high and throwing it down with the one-hander.
One of his favorite moves right there, guys. Baseline jumper. That's in for his 5th make of the night. Now shooting at a 50% clip, 5 for 10.
He really looks composed shooting the ball this half. Much more consistent, hitting a much higher percentage.
Jackson against Clarkson. He dishes it to Caldwell Pope. All alone. Can't hit that one. The Pistons go the other way with it, and this is the first season matchup for them against the Lakers team.
And one of the few bright spots of their last season was sweeping the season series in this matchup.
Second shot opportunity. No good from Zubac.
How many times have you seen him do that? Losing focus on a simple lay-in.
Lure the screen. Bradley against Caldwell Pope. The baseline J. That's good on the jump shot. 15 points for Avery Bradley.
And this is what Avery likes. It's where he feels most comfortable, the in-between area.
Caldwell Pope kicks to Randall. Clarkson up top. Caldwell Pope outside. Ingram passes to Clarkson. Shot clock at 6. Here's Caldwell Pope on target from 13 feet. Caldwell Pope's got 6 points in the quarter.
And Caldwell Pope able to hit those mid-range shots consistently, but that's one the defense will live with.
And now the first timeout called here for Detroit. They're moving on after the tough loss they took at the hands of the Warriors.
And, you know, their focus wasn't there in that one. Same with the shot selection.
I've seen worse shooting nights, but this was pretty bad, and it obviously cost them the game.
Shoots off the screen. No good off the back of the rim.
Not sure of the thought process on that one. Really bad shot selection.
Well, you're playing for the team, not just yourself. They needed much better execution that trip down the floor.
Here's Kennard. He has 7. Screen by Smith. Off the pick. Takes it up with both hands and rips it down.
And it was the screen there, guys, that freed him up as he ran his man into it.
And then it was all acceleration, GA, to the bucket right after that.
That was just a textbook pick that allowed him room, and he took advantage of it.
Clarkson against Smith. And here's Clarkson. Zubac. The rebound by Marjanovic. Marjanovic has got 9 rebounds in the game. Getting it done. Here's Kennard. Back to Smith. Out left to the wing. Got a piece of it. Fast break, the Lakers. And here they go. The shot by Clarkson, no good. And, well, Detroit shooting at a decent 44% clip here. Smith dishes to Ellenson. Trying to find Johnson. He's got it now. Marjanovic kicks to Ellenson. That shot missing. LA's gone 1 of 4 in three-point shots here in the third. Here's Kuzma. Battles through traffic and lays it in. Kuzma's got 4 points in the quarter.
And they definitely have the edge in those fast break points.
They can't be afraid of keep pushing the basketball in transition, because in a half-court set, they're struggling a little bit.
Ellenson with it. Elbow shot is on the way. Shot's good by Kennard. Kennard's got 11 points.
Working over that in-between area. Defenses now have a hard time shutting that down.
And really no other way to put it. The Lakers with that dramatic front office change last season around that deadline and new big name leadership. And the hope is that they can escape from what's been an awfully rocky patch here of Lakers history.
And the turmoil for the Lakers up top has certainly been fodder for the newspapers in Southern California.
Yeah, aborted takeover attempts, infighting, court battles. I mean, this has been a soap opera. But one thing is certain, in order to be successful as a franchise, you need everybody on the same page.
Pass to Kuzma. No good with the triple.
Yeah, and they've shown effort and aggression in the paint, really right from the tip. Their rebounding edge right now, massive.
Ellenson, and that one goes long. The Lakers shooting a pretty low 34% thus far. Here's Hart. Kuzma, rebounded by the Pistons. Smith, the pass to Kennard. Back to Smith. There's 25 seconds left to play in the third. Ellenson with a wide open look. And the three off target.
I'll tell you what, his shot's off, but the rest of the team is on. That's why they're still winning.
They set the screen. Picked by Randall. Now the pass to Kuzma. Here's Zubats. And so it's the Detroit Pistons ahead by 26 points as we get ready for the break. They have made it very tough to get a shot off against them. Their defense has been stifling. We'll return shortly. And thanks again for joining us. Let's see what happens here in the fourth. They've got Corey Brewer. Hart is out there with Ennis. Then it's Bogut. And it's Kuzma in at the 4 slot. That's who's in the game for the Lakers. And it's sent back by Bogut.
Really remarkable work by Bogut to send the shot back. Such a tremendous defender who really never rests on that end of the floor.
Ennis kicks to Brewer. Here's Hart. Offensive rebound. Second chance shot. And so he earns a trip to the line. Official saw the contact and he'll shoot 2.
And really, Bogut is a good guy to send to the line. If you're the defense, his stroke is hit and miss from there.
A player who measures his impact, Greg, on the game at the defensive end, the 7-footer Andrew Bogut.
Yeah, and it's interesting. He said he was a horrible defender at the University of Utah. Soaked up the game from the great defenders in the NBA. Learning defensive 3 seconds, when to go, when not to. He's a master now.
No good on that one. And across the NBA, we've seen players taking a vocal stance on various social issues. Smitty, you think that's pretty important?
Very important, and I think this generation has done it better than my generation. Obviously speaking out, but yes, they're using their social media tools to come out and talk about important issues. And the one thing you just want to bring light to these issues, and hopefully a lot of people, the more light you bring, the more solutions I think will come about.
Well said. Here's Galloway. He kicks it to Bullock. That's good, and so Galloway with the assist.
And good passing, setting up a lot of these buckets right now, Kevin. That's been the key.
Down low, here's Bogut. And a lot of contact on that one, so he'll shoot 2 here. It's on Ellenson. Well, Steve, with all the sharpshooters in the league right now, we'll always see the pick and roll. It's never going to go away. Usually it was a small and a big. A guard getting the screen, the big then rolling inside and getting the pass. But now, because the players are sometimes, we see smaller lineups, a lot of guards on the floor, 3 guards at a time. Sometimes you do see a guard-to-guard pick and roll. You see different sizes combining with the most standard play in the league.
You're totally right, Kevin. You look at the pick and roll, the hardest play to defend, and now we have the pick and pop. The bigs are not rolling, and like you said, we have guard-to-guard pick and roll. You want to just create a mismatch, and because of all the spacing, it's so hard because when a guy rolls down the lane, there's such a long run for defenders now. So that's why the pick and roll is great, especially with the new defensive rules. You can't be in a lane, so it opens it up even more.
He's off on the second. And the demands of NBA basketball, no secret. The league has taken measures, Steve, to allow players more time for rest, which is good, and more time for recovery, which is better. Less back-to-backs. Do you think more can be done and should be done in those areas?
You know, I know the league is looking at it. The less back-to-backs is fantastic, and I think they're looking at the travel and the recovery. So as more and more they can limit back-to-backs, I think that helps guys recover. I think guys get a chance to be ready to go, because playing a back-to-back is extremely hard. And I think guys on their own are doing a lot to be able to take care of their bodies in the off-season. So I think both the players and league are doing a fantastic job.
One shot.
You know, Stephen, I think of Stan Van Gundy, I think of versatile, because we all know he's the head coach of the Detroit Pistons, but he's in charge of all their personnel moves, too. This guy's got a lot on his plate.
Yeah, he does. I mean, when you start to look at it, he's wearing two hats. And one thing, he's doing a good job trying to run his organization from a management standpoint and also from a coaching standpoint. So far, so good for Stan.
Oh, took the contact and tried to throw it down over the top, but instead he'll shoot free throws.
No, I tell you what, he earned his money on that foul.
Shooting two, gentlemen.
The first one falls. And Smitty, at the start of just about every season, NBA officials are given new directives or points of emphasis for officiating. In fact, they don't call it POE anymore. They just have things to really make sure you're on top of for the layman. Are there any changes you'd like to see in the way the game is officiated?
Well, you know, I think one change, I like it where it is, and obviously continued freedom of movement because we want to see a free flow of games. But I would love to see, Kevin, an offensive rebound. Say your team gets the offensive rebound, the 24-second shot clock is not reset to 24, maybe to 14, and that can kind of speed the game up.
And there's the 3-second call, this one on the defense. And the Lakers, Greg, for a long time could rely on the lure of Los Angeles to draw top free agents. History does a lot, it seems.
Yeah, Paul George listing them on his short list shows they still have that pull, but the Lakers will be big players in free agency, I believe, in the near future.
And the Lakers making a change here. Lopez is checked in. And we're about 2 minutes into the fourth quarter now. It's stolen by Bogut, and it's the Lakers on the break. Ennis has got the ball, got a hand on it, and they're able to recover. Rebound by the Pistons. Ellinson's got his fourth rebound in this one. The Pistons have gone 2 of 4 from the field since we started the final quarter of play. The dish to Tolliver. There's the feed to Bullock. Kicks it to Ellinson. That one falls.
And defensively, guys, they've been unable to shut down the middle.
The Lakers have gone a dismal 0 for 5 to get the fourth quarter underway. Now here's Ennis. Dishes to Brewer. Bogut down low. Back to Brewer. From 15 feet away. Bucket is good.
And you won't find many centers with better passing ability than Bogut.
Detroit's gone 1 of 2 from three-point range here in the fourth. Here's Kennard. And Smitty, they say players are made in the summer, the off-season, when they can really work on things on their game. Especially these days, players will hire top-level trainers and coaches for individual work during the off-season.
You know, Kevin, I love it. The guys are putting in those emphasis on their bodies with trainers and coaches. But I know sometimes I've heard stories where the teams want you to work on this, maybe say your mid-range games, but then guys have these coaches are just working on their threes. So I think guys got to be careful just hiring anybody. You want to work on your game, but I think also it has to be a balance what the team wants and what you want.
Steve, I've heard that too, and I think teams they like the work in the offseason, but it's got to be directed the right way.
Yes.
And if you're a part of a team in a long-term project, I think you've got to take the direction and follow the compass that your team has given you.
Yeah, I think so, and I think a lot of times teams are getting upset because now you're seeing these individual coaches and trainers starting to come on NBA time, work out on NBA time, and I think that's when it started to become somewhat of a problem.
That shot misses. And the Lakers going the other way now. They get to take on the Blazers of Portland after this one. That will be a getaway game for them, a one-game road trip. And he comes up with the deuce.
Really smoking the Nets now after a difficult time shooting in the first half.
Time called here. The Pistons decide to talk it over.
And as of late, they have not looked good at all. Actually, they've been dominated.
And the worst part, they're starting to get down on themselves. Really need that one big play to spark some life back into them.
So it's both teams making substitutions here. Unable to get the ball in bounds. They get called for the 5-second violation.
And that's going to go back the other direction, but they've played a pretty clean game. Not many giveaways, and the score reflects that.
Feeds it to Nance. Fires from 14. Hits some rim on the way in, and the bucket's good.
The ball movement on this run has been fantastic and is a big part of why they've been able to get these good looks.
Jackson from long range, but they get it back.
And that's a nice job on the offensive glass there. That'll let them work the clock even more.
And here's Bradley from 3. That's good, and it's Jackson with the assist that time. Jackson's got 4 assists now tonight. Ball kicks to Caldwell Pope. Here's Nance, and the jam by Larry Nance.
Yeah, liking the vision there from Caldwell Pope, looking to get his guys going when they're open.
Pistons leading by 22. Now Jackson. Outside Bradley. Passes it to Lure. Over Nance. Clock at 6. Lure can't hit.
Coming down the stretch here, holding the lead. You like him to be more efficient offensively.
And that one's good. Ingram.
And Ball sets up his teammates when they're open, quick to whip it around. One of the best ball movers in the league.
Outside Jackson. On the wing, Harris. He feeds it to Drummond. Over Lopez. That misses off the backboard. Lakers trail by 19. Nance a screen. Wide open. And it's Ingram missing.
And the defense daring him to shoot that. Good plan right there.
On the wing, Harris. To the inside. Lopez with the steal. Ball dishes to Caldwell Pope. A great 1-2 punch. Beautiful pass and nasty jam.
Really most effective when he's in attack mode, and KCP with the athleticism to do it.
To the middle. It's tipped. Ingram with the steal. And in transition, it's Ingram. Here we go. Paul with a wide open look. His three-pointers off the mark. Detroit leading by 17. Harris kicks to Bradley. Outside Jackson. Inside. Here's Drummond. It's good. The assist this time from Jackson. Jackson's got assist number 5 here tonight.
There are guys Drummond's size, but not many move or adjust as well as he does against aggressive defense.
And Nance kicks to Lopez. Nance a screen. Caldwell Pope for 3. Offensive rebound.
Making a dent in this deficit. He's been on point tonight.
Detroit's gone 2 of 5 on three-point shots since the end of the third quarter. Jackson kicks to Bradley. Over in the corner. Lure inside. Drummond passes to Bradley. For 3, Harris. It's hauled in by Los Angeles. Caldwell Pope's got 4 rebounds now tonight. The teardrop falls in. Caldwell Pope's got 10 points in just the second half.
And not the first time we've seen this. When KCP's confident, when he's in rhythm, he can fill it up with the best of them.
Here's Bradley, and Lopez pulls it down. Lakers trail by 15. Ball kicks to Caldwell Pope. Pass the ball. 6 on the shot clock. Lopez, and it's in after a nice bounce off the right side.
That's one of his specialties, just squaring up from medium range.
Yeah, he has the height to shoot over most any defender and the touch to make it with consistency.
Bradley kicks to Lure. Outside Jackson. And again, it's the Pistons missing.
And being that close to the hoop, I thought he had enough room to finish that one.
That's tipped. Bradley against Caldwell Pope. Here's Drummond. And no good that time. Good D by Lopez. 2-on-1 as they jump out on the break. Pull up Shea. It's good, and the Piston lead is cut down now to just 11 on the bucket from Ingram.
And Ingram is just so long. I mean, he covers a ton of space and just so quick in transition.
To stop the drought and finish off by Lure.
Delivering these passes in tight quarters, that's tricky.
Timeout called the Lakers.
John Lord, not a player you usually think about twice, but he was a solid contributor. Not the greatest of defenders, but he will always give you effort. Mostly deployed as a stretch four.
A chance now to recognize our Jordan Player of the Game, Andre Drummond.
Sensational game for him in terms of shooting efficiency. He's taken nothing but high percentage shots. That's how he's managed to hit over 60% from the field. I mean, making just about everything he's looked at.
Their losing streak had gotten to the point where somebody, anybody, had to put his foot down. And even though there were other more probable candidates, he's been the one to take over that leadership role. And keeping us updated from the sideline, let's swing it over to David Aldridge.
Thanks, guys. I got a chance to hear what Luke Walton was saying to the team. No surprise, he was not happy with the turnovers. He told them, we are giving this one away, guys. We've got to be more careful with the ball, play within the offense, and get good open shots. Kevin?
And Lure, as you mentioned, Steve, becoming more and more of a stretch four. Not a great shooting season for him last season, but he does open things up for an offense.
Yeah, John gives you more than just his shooting. He also can create off the bounce a little bit. Solid passer for his size and position.
Now, gentlemen, 2 shots. 2 shots.
And that one falls for Jackson. And the bad boy Pistons, perhaps the greatest group this franchise has put together, and also one of the most memorable in the history of the NBA. Smitty, you played against some of those guys. What was that like?
Well, first of all, Kevin, I got a chance to grow up in Detroit, watching these guys, being around them, being able to practice. I mean, they were a total tight group. They had some great characters in Lambeer and Rodman and Sally and Dumars and Isaiah and the microwave. But they played extremely hard, and obviously the style of play was defense, rebound, and put you on your butt.
Lopez a screen. High arcing shot. That one's in there. The Detroit lead is cut down to just 10 points with the bucket from Ball.
And how clever is this guy? I mean, just no fear going with the soft, high arcing floater.
To the left wing, Drummond sets the screen for Lure. And he uses the glass on the layup. Lure's got 4 points this quarter.
And a high percentage look there, and he takes full advantage, bumps up the lead.
Yeah, the lead now is double digits. Some tricky matchups out there, not a lot of solutions.
Here's Lopez. A beautiful reverse layup.
Whatever drawbacks Lopez may have, scoring in the post isn't one of them. He is a nightmare for opposing defenses to deal with down low.
Jackson dishes to Bradley. Caldwell Pope with some nice D.
When you miss a lay-in, it sort of sucks the energy out of your team.
And the Lakers get it back. And no good. Detroit's gone a disappointing 2 of 6 on three-point attempts here in the fourth.
And at this point, just sort of running through the paces, as it appears it'll be a nice win here for the Pistons.
They never settled for mediocre shots.
And Kevin, they had great penetration this time out.
And every win important. And this one will go down as win number 3.
And with the win approaching, they'll take the first game here of 2 that they'll play against this team. Nice to get that first one out of the way and set the tone.
And as usual, some excellent work tonight in what was a quality big impact game for Andre Drummond.
Boy, such a big factor in the game tonight. His intensity on the boards. Even when guys put a body on him, he somehow still beats them to the ball.
And here is Harris. And so it's the Pistons taking care of business here. A solid win on the road for them. This building was dead silent by the time, GA, this one wound down.
And that's what you want to do. Take the crowd out of it by crunch time. Don't give them any chance to lift their team up at the finish.
And that'll do it, folks. For Steve Smith, Greg Anthony, and David Aldridge, this is Kevin Harlan thanking you for being with us. We'll see you next time